And sometimes I feared for 7 and 8 o'clock to come around, because that's when everybody started going around. And the negative energies and the bad attitudes become activated. And at dawn, when it's so sacred, it's just the animals are activated. And then I always tell my children, I said, not only are we all related, we're also all my friends. I said, you know, there's friends out there. I said, you know what? The trees are my friends. I said, because I'm a sun dancer. And the most magic tree of trees is the cottonwood tree. I said, look at that tree. Look at it, just sparkles. And if the wind blows, it sings. And if you broke one of those little leaves off, you can see a star. I said, the whole tree is so sacred. And so then I always look at trees, and if a tree's hurt, they think I'm crazy. I go over there.
Oh, I understand.
And I touch the tree, and I always say, you know, if it weren't for you people here, my friends, I wouldn't be able to live. Without you, I would not be here. Therefore, I really understand that you are my friend, and you make all the oxygen, the sacred breath. And what I give back to you, you use it. So you and I, we're a pair and we're a team. And trees, I love you guys because you make everything so nice. And then people thought that was just so crazy. So then I have to bring them into the contemporary, so-called traditional life and say, you know what? There's 56 sun dances on this reservation, people. And what do you have in the center? A tree, and this tree also represents your family. It has roots, it has many branches, has many leaves. All these leaves are us. So I said, you know what, this is the tree of life, and this is the symbol of family right here. And I said, you know, when you look at the Sundance tree, it's a Y. You got one walk, and you get to a certain age, you're going to be asked, okay, what road do you want to take? Do you want to take the left or the right? The left road is all burnt up. There's trees that are all burnt. And the right road is all green, and there's beautiful trees all over. So I said, I had a dream one day. I was walking down this dirt path. So then it went this way, and I said, in the dream, I had no control. So I said, they took me down that way. It was all burnt up, and trees were burnt. I said, at the end was all death and destruction. I said, so I felt so bad. So I said, the grandfathers, they put me on the other road. And I said, no more tears, I was just happy. Oh, beautiful world, the world that I know. And I said, you know what, I seen a few sun dancers down there, just a few, and there's just this little tree. So I said, as I was walking, I looked at them. And I said, that was the end of the dream. And I said, there was a holy man that came to my dad, and he told my dad, talk to your daughter. She has a dream. So then my family, they came to me and they asked me, do you have a dream? So I told my mom, I said, I have many dreams, remember, Mom? You and I are dreamers and we know things. I said, I had a dream. So then my uncle was a holy man and a medicine man. So anytime we as dreamers, we have a dream, first of all, we go into the sacred altar, the Hochoka, and we give our dream to God, and then God tells us what we have to do and what's expected of us. So we went into ceremony, and God said, yeah, grandfather, creator. We gave her dream, and we gave her choice, and she chose to dance. So then my uncle, who's the holy man, he instructed my family. For 1 whole year I got ready. We went to sweat, and of course we always went to ceremonies. They got me ready. So after 1 year, we went to the Sacred White Buffalo Calf place at Green Grass. And I was young. I was a teenager. And I thought the reason why I had the dream was because we had a shootout at Oglala. That was in 1975. And they were trying to kill my family. And that day when the helicopters and the APCs and the armies came, me and my sister, we were the only ones. We were up at this hospital. We seen so much cop cars. We seen so much going towards Oglala. So I got on the telephone. My mom was director, bilingual that time. So her secretary, she answered and she said, "You better get over here, Arlette, because I think they killed your whole family." She said, "Your mom's just walking around here like a zombie." So we tried to get back into Oglala, but we're met by so much. First of all, it was the goons. We had to go through their roadblock. We made it through their roadblock, and then there was the BIA police. We just went through their roadblock. And then at the bottom was the federal marshals, and they made a man line because we were driving so fast going through those, and we thought that we could just drive and drive till all those men stood in our way. So we just turned around, had to come all the way this way, all the way back to Lone Man Day School where my mom was at. And I found my mom just all numb. And I said, "Mom, are they all dead?" And she said, "Listen." So we just assumed my whole family was dead. And it was just us women. So then they told us that if ever they all got killed, that we're to look out for our mom. And that we all, as women, we have to stick together and not be found alone, because they never need any witnesses and they never leave anybody alive. And when they kill all the men of our family, who's gonna protect mom? So right away we gathered up with mom, and I had like an 89-year-old grandma, my mom's mom, still alive. So we went to my grandma's house, still not knowing if my whole family's dead. And while we was at my grandma's house, those helicopters coming in the sky. My niece and my cousin, she was only like 12 years old. She was really proud. She had a little AIM. She wrote AIM on her back. We had outhouse. So she was really walking to the outhouse, and here those helicopters came down and they had guns. Only that high. So my cousin, she just ran around and she ran underneath the table, and my grandma has a little wash board. She threw that jacket in there and she tried to wash off AIM, because she thought that just because her jacket said AIM, they're gonna start shooting and killing us. So we just stayed underneath the shade of my grandma's. And then by then, my dad had shown up someplace. He just pulled up. So he met those helicopters, so those blades are going, and my dad's just flapping there. And that we knew that if you stand out there alone, they could kill you. So right away, my mom said, "You better go stand with your dad, because they're gonna think about killing a child, but never think twice about killing a man." So I went and stood with my dad, and all they did was stand there with their guns hovering over. My grandma had, because I had I had 2 brothers and 2 cousins in Vietnam. And my grandma would watch Walter Cronkite, and she said that she seen her grandsons getting killed, and she had 3 heart attacks. And when those helicopters came, my grandma, she was really out there with a cane. "You guys are killing my grandsons, you better leave." You better go on. So I really thought my grandma was very heroic for doing that. So from then on, we had to, before then, the goons were killing, and then they were threatening to kill my dad all the time. We had to live in 3 houses. We lived with my grandma, we lived with my sister, we had our own home, and we had a home in the hills. So anytime they came and they said that the goons said they're gonna kill my dad that night, we just have to go live all over. And then we had 3 cars, so then we won't be riding around in 1 car, so they can blast us all out and kill a whole family. Because from coming from here to going to Oglala, they had snipers that were killing people. And we were really into ceremonies. And when there was an Indian lady that was coming back from ceremony, they killed her. So then from then on that we realized that we really had to watch each other. And when all that was really going on, the killings, we really held on to our pipe. And we always prayed. So then to me it was like, that day when they said my whole family was dead, I really prayed to Creator, because there's all kinds of shootings, so much, you can't even believe anybody would have survived that. I really prayed to Creator, and I was like, my family might be all dead, and I thought massacres only happened in 1890. And it could happen now in Oglala, and this is 1975. That night, the horizon, you can see this like a lava flow coming down. So right away, my dad was on the CB, he was wanting to know what's coming, what's coming. Here they said 75 Jeeps were coming with those white stars on there, with men, all with guns. So we were at the housing, and my little niece, there's just me and my dad out there, because my mom always says, you go be with your dad, you go be with your dad. Your dad likes to be alone, and the goons get him, or the BIA police get him. They're gonna kill him. You go be with him, you go ride around with him to ensure that your dad lives. So I always go around with my dad.
Could you explain who the goons are, so those who don't know who they are?
The goons were a tribal council headed by Dick Wilson. And the goon squads were financed and funded by the federal government. The FBI's gave them guns, gave them shells, gave them extra men. And whatever Dick Wilson wanted his BIA policemen to do, and his goon squad were called Guardians of the Oglala Nation. They were like a SWAT team, designed and geared to deal with any uprisings with any kinds of groups such as AIM or traditional people or any as such.
What happened to all those people in that time?
They're still here. They are, but the most beautiful thing about them, they're starting to reclaim who they are and their spirituality. They now go to sweats, and they now do sun dances, which is the most beautiful thing. I think that once an Indian comes out of ignorance and learns about his traditions and culture, it's very beautiful. And you have no choice to make a circle and go back to your ancestors and your grandfathers of their values and understandings. So many of our goon squads have gone back to. And as an Indian and as Lakota, we are very forgiving. So we forgave them. Always. Because there's little of us living here on this reservation, and everybody is important, whether you're full blood or half-breed. To me, as a nation, we all have to live together, coexist, because there are other Native American reservations out there that you don't have your brown skin. You don't have your Indian features that are genetically passed on. So to me, everybody is very important in this life. And the most important ones are the children. To me, they're so important because if we were to educate them as we see fit in a traditional way, these children will aspire and progress, not in material wealth, but in spiritual progression.